the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine. From a place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome. But nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, tonight's subject is, are English referees really poor? And before we get into that, I'm joined by John. How are you, John?
Good evening to you, Tony. Thanks so much, on, man. Everything's fine this end. Hope you're okay.
Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. Absolutely. Before I get into the show, if you like what you see, then please smash the likes. It really does help the channel up the search results, so smash those likes. Thank you very much indeed. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, it helps the channel grow. And bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. So I'm currently sitting on 451 subscribers. So I'm now 49 away from 500, which isn't a bad show, considering we're not even at the end of March yet. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel so far. And do spread the word. Thank you very much indeed. I'll just go into some comments first before we get into the nitty-gritty of referees. Harry's in, he says, evening all, hope you're all doing well. Absolutely fine, Harry. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Harry says, there's one way of answering this question. Is it Aussie Jared Gillett the best referee in the Premier League? We will come to that. Don't you worry about that, Harry. We will be talking about all these referees. Mason says, are we Tony and John? Absolutely fine, Mason.
Big up, Mason. He never said in the United there. He never said one with that Man United. That's good. He is man.
Niall says, yes, good evening. It's Big Tony Boy. Thank you very much, Niall. And he says, evening, John, as well.
Big up, Niall, mate.
Lee says, evening, Tony and John. How are you keeping, lads? Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Lee. How are you doing, mate?
And Ian Fleming says, evening, Tony and John. Ian, evening to you, Ian. Hope you're well.
Big up, Ian. Hiya.
Garethson, he says, good evening, Tony and John. Hope you're both well. And yes, referees are poor. Yeah, this is going to be some debate, I think, tonight.
Oh, I think so.
Niall says, has a break come at a good time for Newcastle to regroup again and get the players back from injuries? Do you know what it is, Niall? I think it has in some ways, because I think it gives us a chance as a club to reset. And any issues we've had where we're conceding goals and, you know, we've conceded a silly goal as such, and we can put those errors right, but also we can get the clinical side of our game right, where we're creating the chances. If we're, you know, we should be putting more chances away. So I think it's a good chance to reset, and it'll be interesting to see how the international break shapes up. Mason says, John, what's this I'm hearing from TalkSport that the Glazers are staying on? Just on cue, John. You just.
I thought Mason's been sensible there. He said, "Hi, Tony John." So finally, he's coming to his senses here, but obviously he's not. Obviously, he's like, you know what? I don't care about you, but you know what it is, right? I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, they're asking for too much money, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people want Glaciers to stay on. Because if they do stay on, it'd be great for Newcastle, by the way. And you know what, Tony? Let them carry on the circus. Sorry, mate, if you're watching. The circus is brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
Circus is brilliant.
Sefton Mag says, evening all, I'll be in the car enjoying the show on my way into work. I have never witnessed such corruption in officials like the Game of Forest. Absolutely, Sefton, and that's the one we're going to talk about as well. Lee says, Dougal Conte has been sacked. Not yet, he hasn't, but
Not
apparently
yet.
they're deciding on his future in the next 48 hours. So what does he expect when he comes out with stupid things like that? It's his own fault at the end of the day. So I've got no sympathy for
the
him.
thing says, Tony, right? I mean, I'll say it again, right? I mean, look, what he said is what he said can't with. I know people's going to think differently. I think he's coming and saying he is right. What he said about the club, he is right, because it's been like that for a long, long time. The question you ask, where's this club been for 20 years, right? What's happened in 20 years? Why have we not won anything? Do you know what I mean? Is it because the chairman? It's the players are not doing it? But he is right. He's speaking for the fans, right? But Levy does not like things like that.
No, he doesn't like to be undermined.
Exactly.
But then you look at it, I know we're not really not Spurs channel as such, but you look at it and you think, the one thing I'm going to say, is it really worth Spurs to sack him now when he's going to leave at the end of the season? Is it really worth doing that now? Yes, you're going to.
Yeah, it does make sense. Don't make any sense because there's only a couple months to go. He's out of contract at the end of the season. Then they may as well just say, you know what? Thanks very much, indeed. Shake hands on it. You've done your bit. Well, off you go. But they're not going to, I tell you what, they'll not get top four now, Tony. They will not get top four now between us and Liverpool. But do not write off Brighton yet.
Yeah. Matt says, good day, Tony and John. Good day to you, Matt. I hope you're well, mate, in Australia.
Big up, Matt. Big up.
Mag says, toon.
Big up.
Good lad, Mag. Derek Platten says, it's time for VAR conversations to be broadcast so someone is accountable for the outcome. I love VAR, but its current implementation is a joke. Absolutely, yes. Spot on with that comment, Derek. That is an absolute brilliant comment, and I'm giving that a star, mate, because that is brilliant.
I can't disagree with that, man, by the way.
Ian's telling Sefton to enjoy work. I don't think he enjoys work, Ian. I think it's because he's got to do night shift.
Yeah.
And Lee says, end of the season. All right, okay then. Okay, I see what you mean. He's going at the end of the season. Yeah. I think we'll hear more about that. It'll be in the news for the next few days.
100%.
But yeah, so we talk about referees in their decisions. I mean, there's been a lot of dodgy decisions, right? Now, if we go back to September, John, I was at that game, as you were as well, when we played Crystal Palace. Now, this is in question. Now, this is the one where Tarek Mitchell pushes Willock, who then goes into Vicente Gaeta, can't do anything about it, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. Now, the referee is then ushered to go to VAR by Lee Mason at the time. Mm-hmm. So Michael Salisbury goes to the VAR monitor. Now, what we don't know is we don't know what angle he saw, but we don't think he saw the angle that we've got on screen at the moment. We think he only saw a front-on angle. Now, Lee Mason hung him out to dry because he ended up disallowing that goal, saying Willock fouled the goalkeeper. Now, my question is, if he'd saw the correct angles, and he saw that, and I said this back then when it happened, if he'd saw the correct angle of that, on that side-on angle there, he would have seen the clear push from Tarek Mitchell on Joe Willock, and he would have saw that the push then carries Willock into Gaeta, meaning Willock can do nothing about it. It's not a foul on the goalkeeper. It's a foul on Joe Willock. Then the referee has got a decision. He's got a couple of decisions he can make. He can either send... Well, you can book Gaeta, Tarek Mitchell. Couldn't send him off because there's covering players there, so he could just give him a yellow card. He could give a penalty as well. Or he could have said, no action, I'll not call a foul, and we'll call it a goal. And the goal stands. So he had a couple of options there, the referee, Michael Salisbury. But the option he took was to disallow the goal because he thought Willock had deliberately clattered into Gaeta, which wasn't the case. And we all saw that. We all knew that that was the wrong decision. Obviously, at the game, we didn't. I mean, it was at my end where I was. But, you know, but when you watched it back on Match of the Day, it's absolutely infuriating because you saw there was a clear push on Willock. And, I mean, do you remember that, John?
I was there Tony at the match as well.
Yeah.
I saw it kind of first hand. I mean, look, you're quite right. What he did push Willock into the keeper, and then it went to the back of the net. Right, you were right. They couldn't do anything about that at all whatsoever. How about giving the benefit of doubt? Go to the video, right? Go to the VAR, right? Check from not just one angle, but all angles. That's what it's all about. VAR, checking out all angles, right? Like they do in Europe, right? Because they're way ahead of us, by the way. We are an absolute joke when it comes to VAR. We really, really are. It is an utter disgrace. I'm in for VAR. I'm for it, 100%. Cool, for the right reasons, but it's got to be used correctly. Now, what it is, right? You got to check for all angles, not just one angle. If it takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that's cool. Add it on the end of the game. It's that simple. But no, right? They only check for one angle, and it goes and flip and disallow it, yeah? And that costs us 2 points, by the way. That costs us 2 points. But again, right, the Premier League, whoever's in charge of it is not VAR, it's the people who's running VAR. It's got to be sorted out because at the end of the day, they go on. They expend.
Absolutely. I totally agree, John.
Thank you, man. And they need to find out who's running it, right? What it's all about. Explain to us, right, how it works. If they got no idea how to use it, get someone who is experienced, someone like in the Serie A, because after they used it first Serie A, right? And it worked to absolutely perfection. They check on everything. The Bundesliga, right? And they do the same. La Liga do the same. You can actually see the actual VAR room live. We don't see that, right? The thing is, right, the best one, Tony, for VAR is the Australian League, right? In Australian League, right, they talk to people. The fans know everything. They go step by step. Check this, check that, right? The fans are completely in the loop here. For us, I'm not going to lie, right? We don't get out. We don't see a flipping thing. We don't. We're just at the back. They don't care about us. But it's about time the VAR comes out next season and let the fans listen to what they have to say. It works at rugby. It works in rugby league and it works at rugby. Okay? So fans hear everything. It's about time now. The Premier League, right? You know, follow field, follow the lead, and say, right, you know what? We're going to let fans listen to the refs. And I think that's the only way it's going to work. Oh, and Howard Webb needs to fix this up very, very quickly. He's brought here to sort the VAR out, and the referees has been very, very poor. And another thing about referees, some of the refs are not fit. They just do not look fit. They look overweight. They kind of keep up the pace of the game, right? At the end of the day, it needs fixing up. Otherwise, what's the point, Tony, having VAR? There's no point.
Absolutely, John. And you're quite right. And on that same day that we played Crystal Palace, I think it was the evening kickoff, West Ham versus Chelsea, or Chelsea versus West Ham at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
I think it was the 5:30 kickoff. And I'm just going to put this on screen now. So on that picture, Jared Bowen scores an equaliser for West Ham. It's ruled out by VAR for a foul on Mendy. Now, later on, that was then found out it wasn't a foul on Mendy because he actually jumps over Mendy. So, again, referee went to monitor and ruled a goal out. How on earth are they making these mistakes? I mean, that goal that West Ham lost there, that equaliser. Now, what's to say that that point at the end of the season relegates them that they've lost on that game? Now, this is where clubs lose out on money. They lose out on managers because managers can be sacked because of wrong decisions from the officials. And yes, a lot of people might say, well, West Ham shouldn't have to rely on that point because they should have enough to stay up, like any team. But at the end of the season, you look back and you think, well, do you know what? That equaliser against Chelsea would have kept us up in the Premier League. And because of it, we've gone down. And this is this is the thing with VAR and the officials now. After these games, because of the two decisions that day, Mike Riley actually at the time had to apologise to Newcastle and to West Ham and say, sorry, we got it wrong. I mean, you know, what's your interpretation of that picture, John?
Well, I tell you what, though, I think it's a disgrace again. I mean, he jumped over Mendy, right? He's not fouling him. He's not pushing him. He's not kicking him. He's just trying to get out of his way. And he goes to score a goal. Well, I didn't see that game, but what I can see is just by common sense. Right? I just don't get it. I think to me now, Tony, it's come to a point now. What is VAR? I don't know what it is anymore. I really don't. Yeah, but some of the decisions, right, it's a disgrace. Now, if that was Kai Havertz went over the keeper, Fabianski, that would have been the back of the net. But no, because it's Jarrod Bowen playing for West Ham, they're not part of the Big Six. So I think the lesser clubs have been done by the season, right, with decisions, which is a disgrace, utter disgrace. Let's be real, right? I mean, again, what's going to be next? Score a goal for 25 yards in the top corner and then get called offside because he scored for 25 yards. How weird, man. No, I mean, again, we're just so confused, Tony, what it is, man. There's nothing wrong with that goal from Bowen. Let's be real. But, again, beats me, mate. Beats me.
Exactly. Coffee says, hi, Tony, John and all. Hi, Coffee. Hope you're well. Just nip through some comments. Lee says, VAR's getting out of hand. Needs a big sort out for next season. It does, absolutely, mate. B.F. Aiken, good evening to you. He says, it wasn't the angle on the Willock goal. It was the timing they only showed the last second, so cutting out the push. Yeah. As I say, the wrong angles were shown to Michael Salisbury, and because he'd only refereed 7 games in the Premier League, then he was sort of like, I don't think he knew what he was doing, to be fair. And it's not his fault, but when you've got an experienced official on VAR, as Lee Mason is, he should know better, and to help his colleague out, who's less experienced and who hasn't got as much experience in the Premier League as what Lee Mason has. So, you know, that's how they should be working. Lee says he got pushed against Willock. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. He did. He got absolutely pushed. Gareth says, VAR supposed to give the correct decision from so-called VAR officials. Referees still get decisions wrong using technology. Need more referees like Kalina. Absolutely.
I comment that as well. I told Kuhn's comments as well. Gav's comments a brilliant comment, by the way, right? Not only we need more like Kalina's, we need more referees from Europe. That guy from Australia. We need German referees. We need Italian refs, Spanish refs. Football as a global sport, okay? And I think it's about time now we see European football referees coming to the Premier League, right, and show us how it's done. Because I tell you something now, the European referees are more savvy, more clever, more classic, well, more up there than English referees. Some of the English referees are so gutless to give a decision. And this is going back, right? I'm waiting to see who's going to be the ref on the 2nd of April, right? It has to be a very strong referee in there. I'd rather have a European referee for this game because I could see, like Carol said yesterday, he reckons that it's going to be something's going to happen in that game. Something's going to happen in that game. Man United's going to get all the decisions against us. You just watch. We need a strong referee.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek says, exactly. Doesn't matter how long it takes as long as the correct decision's arrived at. That's always been my point, Derek. I've always said, I don't care if it takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes to come to the right decision, as long as the right decision is reached. And you need to see every angle. Now, you go back to the FA Cup on Sunday. Now, Robert Sanchez of Brighton was a very, very lucky boy because he came out for the ball and it looked like he was outside the box when he picked it up. But because they didn't have a more clear angle, they had to obviously benefit him the decision that the ball was on the line. Because if the ball is literally touching the line, it's his ball, so he can handle it. Even if the curvature of the ball is just touching the line, like we saw against Spain and Japan. Now, the thing is, if they had more angle, I think you see that ball looks as if it's out of the box, and I think he gets sent off. But he's a very, very lucky boy. That's what I want to see about him. Lee says, for costing a lot of teams points, the big six are getting away with it. You're spot on, right, Lee? You're absolutely right, mate.
Yeah.
He says, wonder if we're going to be called the big six at the end of the season. Well, who knows? Probably the Super 7.
So that's the case on me.
Says, yeah. I hope so, John. Yeah. I mean, you think it's an agenda from the Premier League referees to intentionally use VAR incorrectly so that they scrap it, says Coffee. Well, one thing is, VAR will never be scrapped, that's for sure. It will never be scrapped. There's nothing wrong with VAR. It's the people who are using it. They're just not doing it correctly, in my opinion.
And I'll tell you what, Todd, they need to start listening now. The managers, then the players as well. They need to get... So they got all summer to sort this out. Howard Webb's got one big job on his hands now. He's not come here for a jolly. He's not here to come for a party. He's got to come here and sort this out. Otherwise, it's going to be the same mood, same mood.
Absolutely, John. Paul says, I still don't get how Isak's goal was offside against Liverpool. Again, that's another one. I mean, it is. It's just absolutely ridiculous. He says, for very angry refs. That's what VAR stands for, says Lee. But Paul's right. I mean, the thing is, Paul, back then, the VAR explanation we got, and in my opinion, was a load of absolute bollocks, right? And I think an absolute load of shit, because they turned around and said the reason that they disallowed the goal because it was Joe Gomez who Isak was up against. They couldn't tell who shadow was who. What a load of crap. Never heard it in all my life. How the hell can you not tell apart the shadows? What's it got to do with the shadows? They're a group from the 70s, aren't they?
The shadows, 60s. 60s.
The 60s.
And the shadows.
Well before my time, John.
Well, by my time, but just after my time. But you know what it is, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, even the shadows were better than the crap we got today. Let's be real. But you know what it is, right? I mean, you talk about that shadow, about you couldn't decide on the shadow between Gomez and Isak, right? That's a load of shite. I'm sorry, Tony. That's a load of shite. That's a goal all day long, but they bottled it. VAR bottled it again, right? That was 2 up, and that would have been game over. We would have won that game.
That's why Liverpool are called Liverpool, because they get every VAR decision going their way. And
exactly, every time.
We were robbed. Because had we gone 2-0 up, there's no way Liverpool's winning that game. We are walking away with 3 points.
Exactly. And you look at the points, right? We got done by VAR. We'd be top 4 by now, Tony. And I still think we'll do it this season. I'm confident we're going to get there. I think we will.
Yeah. Gary says, I'm in the house, lads. Welcome aboard, Gary. Hope you're well.
Good, Gary. Good, Gary D.
Lee says, what about women refs from abroad? Not a bad shout. Well, we've had...
Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout at all.
Yeah.
Don't see why
not.
Don't see why.
Well, wasn't there a woman ref done a men's game, wasn't there? Was it an international game, I think? Yeah, an international game she did, didn't she? I think, was it in the World Cup? She had a good game as well, the French woman. She was really, really good. Coffee says, do you think there's a gap in technology, know-how among the conventional ones and VAR ones? I mean, what they should do is, with the VAR, is you have the angles, what the TV cameras have got. So you're using what the TVs are using. So the TV station, right, this is what we've looked at all these different angles. But I just don't think they're using it correctly enough. That's the problem. It's the people operating it. Paul says, soon it'll be the Middle East 3, Newcastle, Man United and City.
Yeah, and then, you know what? They haven't said a word. If they get sold by Qatar, are they going to say anything? Pem's going to say now about Man U? Definitely not. Definitely not. Do you know why? Because they look to pick the big 6. But at the minute, Tony, you said it yourself, they're going to be rattled. And at the minute, Spurs are, Liverpool are, and Chelsea are.
Yeah. I don't even put Chelsea in the same conversation now, John, because they're so far down.
They are in a minute. But I think, it's going to be tough. But one thing I will say, if they win the Champions League and we finish fourth, we'll not make it.
Well, right, John, I'm just going to put this out there. There's no way Chelsea will win the Champions League this season, so don't worry about that, John. There's no worries about that. The only other problem is if we finish fourth, is if Man U win the Europa League, they qualify for the Champions League.
So if they win the qualify for the Champions League, does it give you an extra space then if they win the Europa League?
That should. Well, hopefully, I think if they finish third, I think it's if both they and Chelsea win the European Cups, I think there's no extra Champions League place. But if Man U win the Europa League, it should open up another Champions League, I think, but I'm not sure, John. Rolly says, hi, Tony and John, because Rolly couldn't make it tonight. He says, one of the problems with VAR is that the ref goes to screen with the mindset that they're wrong rather than having confidence in their decision and challenging the VAR official. Do you know what, Rolly? You're right. I mean,
he's right.
Look at what Michael Oliver did. I think it was Brentford. He went to the screen. He gave a penalty and he went back to the screen. And when he checked it, he realised it wasn't a penalty and he disallowed it. And he reversed his decision. But he was distraught over it. But this is a thing. He shouldn't have been distraught over it because he's human. We all make mistakes. But if he's coming back and saying that's the correct decision, actually it's not a penalty and I cancel it, then that's great refereeing. That's what I want to see. I just want to see referees with balls going there and saying, right, I'm not interested in what VAR's got to say. I'm sticking to my decision. And my decision is either it's a goal, it's a penalty, it's a red card, or whatever. I'm going to stick to my decision. And that's what we need to see more of from the referees. And say to them back down in Stockley Park, look, we're happy with what we've done. That's what I'm sticking with, and I'm going with my decision. And they just have to back it at the end of the day. Derek says, offside can be sorted overnight, make a daylight between the attacker and last defender. Absolutely. And the thing is, though, why don't we do what they've done in the World Cup and have that semi-automatic offside thing? It seemed to work pretty well in the World Cup. Yeah. Derek says, TV cameras, 100 frames a second, goal line technology camera, 7 per match, 1,000 frames a second. Yeah, absolutely, Derek. You're absolutely spot on there, mate. Mag says we could always play in red tops and VAR doesn't work on red tops, lol. Do you know what, Max? You're right there. You're right. But, I mean, you know, we've had them decisions against us, but we've had plenty others against us. You know, I mean, you go back to the weekend. I mean, we'll go back to Forest game on Friday night. Longstaff. Yes, at the time, he's in an offside position. Not disputing he's in an offside position, which he is, right? But when that ball comes in, Felipe, it doesn't deflect from him. He actually makes an attempt to clear that ball, which he does. And he's only got Murphy behind him, which means Murphy's not offside anyway. So nobody's impeding him. Nobody's stopping him making the clearance. He's actually going down to make the clearance. It then goes up to Nyakati, who then hits it off Longstaff. Then falls in the path of Isak, who's on the floor at the time, gets up, puts a crossover, Henderson header. Now, what I want to know is why Paul Tierney went to the monitor after being told by Peter Banks to check it and come back and said it's offside. So I want to know I would love to know what the conversation was, what they were looking at, and how they explain. This is why we need explanations of why they've come to this decision. Why have they come to the decision that goal's offside? From Paul Tierney going to the monitor and come back and going, you know, doing the screen thing and going, offside, done. I would love to know what that conversation said, because somebody down Stockley Park has told him, oh, that's offside. So he's took it on board and looked himself. This is where we need to have referees with a bit more steel about them and saying, look, no, actually it's not offside. Felipe has actually made an attempt to clear that ball. It was never a deflection. And then you get Dermot Gallagher, who's an ex-Premier League referee. He then says, that goal should have stood. Why did VAR get involved? He says, I don't. He says, I want to know why VAR got involved. He says, I had no reason to get involved in that goal. It was a clearly perfect goal. Nothing wrong with it. Not offside. He says, Felipe has cleared that ball. The end of the day. And he says, I would like to know why VAR got involved. He says, because I had no right to. And that was according to Dermot Gallagher. What's your thoughts on that, John?
Well, I think I'm still working out why it's offside. I'm still working things out. Why it's offside, I just don't get it at all. It was a perfectly good goal. We all expected it to be a good goal. Even the Forest fans are saying that it's a goal. And then all of a sudden, below, VAR came up, right? And I just thought, because me and Pete done the watch along Pete's channel, we couldn't believe what was going on. And we both said, this cannot be disallowed. It can. If it is disallowed, then we're going to kick off. And that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened, because that could have cost us 2 points, by the way, right? Because of that decision. Because I didn't think Forest was going to come back at all whatsoever. Let's be real. It was a perfect goal. The poor lad got the goal choked off. When it was denied, I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes. It was offside. And everyone's saying it's definitely not offside. Even Keith Hackett said it's not offside. And again, VAR, again, it's messed up, Tony. And what I don't get is, right, I mean, people are celebrating like mad, right? This is why now, if I know it's going to be offside, I don't celebrate anymore, even if you score, until you either get checked out or the kick off from the semicircle. Then I'm going to start cheering. Because if I cheered, right, and it goes VAR, you get offside, it's going to make us like an absolute lemons, a bunch of lemons. What can I say? What can I say? It's
exactly, John. It is. It's just getting beyond the. It's just getting beyond the joke, John. To be fair, I mean, all these decisions that they get, it's wrong at the end of the day, and it's about time VAR really did get into it and just said, look, if the referee's going to go over, he needs, like I say, he needs to have more steel to say, look, actually, no, that's not offside. That's not a penalty. Or yeah, that is a penalty. I've missed it. It's my fault. I understand that. But, at least let the referee have a prop. I mean, I know the referee's probably got to say it, but I just would love to know what exactly has influenced Paul Tierney to change his mind and to give that goal offside. I really would love to know, because I don't know. It's got me puzzled, John, and I'm still trying to work out what Paul Tierney's actually looking at and what he's actually being advised.
I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, look, at the end of the day, our referees in this country is an absolute disgrace. No wonder they didn't get in the World Cup, except for one referee. But the World Cup is coming up in, what is it, 23, 24, this is next year? The World Cup is Euros to 2024, right? And I tell you something now, there's only going to be one English referee is going to referee in that game. That is it. When it comes to the World Cup in 2026, right? I tell you, check how many English referees going to go in America, Canada, and Mexico in America. I tell you what, at this rate, 20, zero. Absolutely zero, because they are absolutely nowhere near good enough. I'm sorry, but you look at these referees. There's one in Turkey, there's one in Holland, and I tell you what, right, they're better officials than us anyway.
Yeah. So there's the picture from Friday night, and so yes. So if you look at this picture, yes, you can see Longstaff is in an offside position there at the time, but in the centre of that picture, that's where Felipe is.
Yeah.
Because you can see there's Murphy at the back there, and when that ball comes in, but when that ball first comes in, Felipe clears that ball. So, and he clears it back to Nyakati, who then, like I say, hits Longstaff. So technically, Longstaff was never offside. Yes, he was offside there, but because he's offside there is not an offence. He's allowed to be in some ways because he's not taking any part in playing any of the ball.
Exactly.
So he's not interfering with the play at the time. So he's technically not causing any offence.
No.
So I really, really want to know where they've got this decision from and what's changed their mind. But the thing is, we'll not get the explanation. That is the problem.
Now, the thing is, though, what makes us laugh is you just said there, they're not going to get explanation, but what you do is apology. What's the point of that? Do you know what? I just send apologies to the Sunderland Shine, mate, because at the end of the day, it means nout. Because you're not going to get our points back, number one, and secondly, you're not going to replay the game.
It's just, do you know, I'm just still trying to get my head around how it's offside goal. How is it offside? That's what I'm still trying to work out, you know.
They need to explain this. They need to explain to the club, the players, and most importantly, the fans. But you're not going to get none for the Premier League. You know why? Because they're absolutely gutless, spineless, and scared to speak out. They only speak out when you get charged from the FA. You only get charged when you get charged. You only get spoken to. You get charged from the FA. That's it. That's it. Is it?
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just one of them, John. It's just absolutely horrendous. I mean, you look at like, you know, Mitrovic. He's had a go at the referee, and he's pushed the referee, and he rightfully so got sent off for that. And you know, but Fulham had a penalty appeal in that game against Man United, but they didn't get it. But when you look at it, it was a pure shirt pull on the player. So it's like, why on earth? How on earth did VAR not give that penalty appeal for Fulham against Man United? Because it's Man United, John. That's why.
Exactly. It's Man United all the time. Look at Bruno, like I say, going to Bruno Fernandes as well. He pushed the referee as well. Just a quick shove. Not got happen about it. Mitro wasn't that bad. Than it wasn't as bad as Fernandes, right? And yet he gets picked up on it. Do you know what I mean? The FA saw that and he didn't give him punishment at all whatsoever. I can remember a couple of seasons ago, Joe Hart, when face the referee, I thought he was going to put him for a minute. Again, didn't get charged for it at all. Did they look after the big clubs, Tony?
Oh, they certainly do, John. They certainly do. I mean, I'll just put this picture up and then I'll go into some comments. What I mean, see on this picture here, this is Mitrovic with the referee. Now, you look at that picture. Now, Mitrovic is right in his face. This is after he's pushed him and he's pointing wagging the finger in his face. Now, that is a sending off offence because, one, he has shoved the official. He's done it in an aggressive manner. Yeah. And he's been quite aggressive there. Now, depending on what Chris Kavanagh puts in his report, his match day report, depends on how long Mitrovic gets banned for. Now, there's rumours going around that he's banned for the season, for the rest of the season, which wouldn't surprise me. But the thing is, though, also you've got to give credit to the referee here, Chris Kavanagh, because after being shoved by Mitrovic, he could have turned around and reacted and thought, yeah, you want to give me a shove, I'll shove you back. Yeah. But he could have lost his cool, but he didn't. He just showed him the red card and just got on with the game. Now, that is very professional in my opinion. So exactly. In some ways, I would say he's definitely not a bad referee, Chris Kavanagh. But he showed his professionalism there. Now, if Mitrovic gets banned for the season, that's his own problem because at the end of the day, he's got to realise he should not be doing that on a referee. Now, you talk about the Bruno Fernandes one, where he shoves the linesman against Liverpool. Now, you see, what's the actual difference between the two? And again, but what Dermot Gallagher says, it's not as aggressive as what Mitrovic is. So you kind of think, well, yeah, but surely you can't put your hands on an official. You shouldn't be able to. You know, even if it's a late push. In my opinion, whether it's a linesman, a fourth official, a referee, if you put your hand on them and give them a late push, you should be instantly red carded regardless. Do you agree, John?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Because at the end of the day, right, I mean, that sounds like violent conduct. If you do that, it's wrong. And there's no place for it at all. There's no place for it at all. You've got people like, Paolo Di Canio, push the referee, Paul Alcott, right? He got 11-game ban. Yeah? Bruno Fernandes should have got banned for that as well. I'm sorry, but he plays with a red shirt as well. I'm sorry. And they're talking about Mitrovic could be banned for 9 months. He could be banned for 9 months. That's what I'm hearing. But I think, is that harsh? 9 month harsh?
I think so, John. I mean,
that's the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people in the chat might not remember. They might be a bit young for it, but you remember back in the 90s when Eric Cantona Kung Fu kicked the Crystal Palace fan? He got a 9-month ban for that. You know? So if you're going to give Mitrovic a 9-month ban for a shove on the referee being a bit aggressive, then I think that's a bit harsh in my opinion. But I would certainly say, I think if he's banned for the rest of the season, that would send a message out. And maybe other players may think, oh, in future, we'll not put my hands on the referee. But
that
again,
is the problem.
That's what the FA's got to do now. They've got to make sure that whatever punishment he gets, it fits the crime, but also it sends a message out to the rest of the players. Do this again, and you're going to get even worse punishment. And you've got to make a stand. That is the thing. You've got to make your authority shown, and the FA need to be authoritative on this. Now, as I say, if that was a Man United player doing that on the referee, would they get the same punishment? Who knows? That's the thing. But it wasn't a Man United player. Marco Silva is in trouble as well because he was sent off.
Massive.
Because he'd done a big no-no straight away. He walked into the technical area where the VAR TV is and you're not allowed to. And that is totally against the rules. And then he started shouting and swearing at the referee, Chris Kavanagh, and asking, well, what about the penalty in the first half with the shirt policies? And apparently a lot of bad language coming out of him. And Chris Kavanagh just given the red card. So, I mean, this is the problem. Marco Silva walking into a technical area. It's not, you shouldn't be doing that really. And whatever punishment he gets, he'll have to take it on the chin, you know. We all remember Alan Pardew when he headbutted David Meyler. We were absolutely disgusted with what Pardew did that day. He let the club down badly. Now, the perfect opportunity for our previous owner was to sack him on gross misconduct grounds, and he wouldn't have had to pay a penny because that was gross misconduct, what he'd done. But he didn't. He got away with it. But he got a hefty ban from the FA over it. And, when a manager does that to a player, you just think, why? What leadership qualities are you showing to your team? As your leader, you're in charge of that team, you're the manager, and you're headbutting an opposing player. It's just despicable. It's disgusting. And he lost a lot of respect for that after that, Pardew did. But
can't be doing that, man. He got fined 100. He got fined 100,000, and he should have been sacked. But the reason he get sacked because Ashley bottled it. He bottled it. Everyone should have said he should have gone now. But I tell you what, Henry Rafa Benitez did that. He'd be gone. That is the thing. But they need to make an example. But 9 months, is that too harsh? I'll tell you something. After Eric Cantona, he got banned for 9 months. And when he came back in, Tony, Man United still won the title. Because I tell you now, if it had not been banned, Blackburn Rovers would have not won the title.
Yeah, absolutely. And they would have. I mean, I'll just quickly put that on screen there now. But there you go. There's the Pardew headbutt.
Yeah.
If you all remember that against Meyler. Meyler being an ex-Mackem, by the way, as well. But obviously no excuses that he's an ex-Mackem. But yeah. But it was stupid from Pardew. I don't know what he was absolutely thinking about doing that for. Why he thought of doing it. You know, just couldn't believe it when he done it. Couldn't believe it.
Neither can I. And when I heard that sort of, I thought, Jesus Christ on the bike. I had to watch it twice. I had to watch it 3 times to see if it's really him done that. And then when I posted out there, I said, this guy must be sacked tonight. And people jumping on us, saying I'm talking shite. Excuse me, right? Have an opinion.
Yeah. I'll just go into some comments. Lee says we haven't won playing in the green and white kit, but we're in the blue and yellow kit winning now. Yeah, absolutely. We haven't. It's been a bit of a bogey kit for us, hasn't it? Perfect goal from Anderson, said Lee. Absolutely. EFC Ban TV, welcome to you, sir, at Bournemouth. And he says, Bournemouth Fan TV, he says, next Saturday, 2-1 Bournemouth. Who have you got? Who have you got the following Saturday? But whoever it is, good luck to you. And if you're new to the channel, mate, please hit the subscribe. That'd be great. Thank you very much indeed. Coffee says, if that was Rashford or Fernandes, they wouldn't rule it offside. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Rolly says,
exactly.
When the ball come off Felipe, that played Longstaff onside, just like a back pass. Absolutely, Rolly. Definitely, mate.
Absolutely.
And when it got to Longstaff, it was already in the second phase of play, because the first phase of play was Felipe hitting it to his own player, Nayakati. That is the first phase. Once the first phase is out the way, you've then got the second phase of play, which is where Nayakati hits it off Longstaff. That is the second phase of play. I'm still confused and I'm still angry at what Paul Tierney saw and what he was told. And I think we need to have things out in the open. I bet even Newcastle United didn't get an explanation as to why they ruled it out. I bet they just got told, oh, we're sorry about that, it should have stood. I bet that's all they got. I bet they didn't get a full explanation.
Nah, not at all. Just one thing, come on the Twitter message from Nicola Dolby. She said about the referees being poor. She said, no, some are brilliant, some are bent, and some are pressed into poor decisions. This football government thing needs to investigate PGMOL, and Howard Webb needs to arrange EPL match officials better.
Yeah, she's absolutely right, John.
That's Nikki D.
Lee says they need proper official for VAR. Yeah, definitely. And Andre says, hi, Paul Fire, Paul Tierney and his entire backroom staff. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I mean, Paul Tierney should be demoted to another league, maybe just for a couple of games or something, down at the Championship or something like that, just to say, look, you've done wrong. There you go. We saw it with John Brooks. He was on VAR duty. He got something wrong and he got pulled out the game the day after. So, let's see more of this. Let's see more punishment given to them and just say, look, you can't do this. Off you go. And go and have a couple of weeks in the Championship or a couple of weeks in League One. There you go.
Exactly.
And that way it'll send a message, oh, we'll not make this mistake again. But, yeah. Oz Bollocks. I like that one. He says, our refs are shite. I love the name, mate. I love the picture. Absolutely brilliant, that. Oz, absolutely brilliant, mate. If you're new at the channel, please hit the subscribe. Thank you very much. A diary says, we need proper official for VAR. Yeah, we do need a proper officials for VAR. That's the thing. We just haven't. I think, all in all, and chat, get involved as well, please. And I'm going to ask you this question, John. For VAR, should it be run by independent people rather than the referees ourselves, John? Should it be an independent body rather than the refs?
For me personally, I mean, I could turn it back on you, but that's a tough one. I would say that when you mean independent, I mean different parts of the world, would you say, or different parts of the world, would you say, people, or it's a hard one to say.
Just run by an independent body, John. I think you would say run it by an independent body. Maybe have ex-players running it, but you have an official next to you. So like a refereeing official who knows the game. But
yeah.
obviously you got to be careful with bias coming in, but you can't be too biased. But then, I don't know, John. It's just one of those. Is it a time for the ex-players to be given that role of doing the VAR?
I don't want ex-players, checking on bad tackles and getting charged the following day. But for me personally, I think got Lottie in the chat, man. Big up Lottie, and you know what it is, right? It's just, oh man, I think it should be independent as long as they know what they're doing. But I have to agree with Lottie as well. We need to make them full-time as well. Make them full-time.
Yeah.
As well. So you're right. For me, I mean, you get Nikki, if you get Lottie's comments in a bit, but VAR referees are crap. They need proper ones that knows the stuff. That's why they need to get someone European, and they know exactly what
absolutely, John. Lee says the refs have deep pockets at Man United.
There's not April the 2nd, by the way. That is the day.
Les, good evening, Les. She says, evening, John. She has no notification for the show.
Now, what it is, right? I mean, it says on my screen, right? Please, if you just link the show, right, so I can get my audience on as well, so you can watch your channel as well. So that came on the top right hand, and I clicked it too late. So look, at the end of the day, you know, I would have got more people on there. So yeah, that's why Lottie's on there.
Yeah, Mag says too harsh. Joanne Appleby, good evening to you, Joanne. She says, when you lose respect, it's thin end of the wedge. A seasoned ban would be better. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Joanne. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
She talks sense. She was on my channel about a couple of weeks ago, and she talks a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah. Mag Debate says a 5-game ban, and he has to referee 5 games in non-league. Do you know what? That's very harsh to send him to non-league. But do you know what it is? I can see what you're saying, though. But I definitely think there should be some sort of system in place where if you're not doing your job, what they should have is like a league table for referees. And at the end of the season, if you're in that bottom 3, you're relegated from the Premier League and you're put into the Championship or whatever in the EFL. But what I would do is, now I've heard there is some good referees in the EFL Championship. Some are stinkers as well, apparently, but you get that everywhere. But what I would do is, if I was Howard Webb, and I'm not Howard Webb, by the way, but if I was, I'd be thinking, right, hang on. Well, this guy in the Championship, that one. I've got 4 refs in the Championship who are performing at their absolute best in that they're getting this right, that right, and this right. Yes, they're getting a few things wrong, but they're getting the majority of that decisions right. Then they could look and say, oh, well, hang on a minute. Right. Well, what I could do is, I could then say, right, well, say Tierney, Coote, Banks, them 3 have been absolutely useless. I'm going to put them in the Championship and replace them with them 3 referees who have been doing brilliantly and give them 3-match spell in the Championship, and these referees can have a 3-match spell in the Premier League. And they might step up to the Premier League and they'll think, right, okay, we've got to make sure we're on our game like we've been in the Championship, and if we are, we'll get kept on in the Premier League. I think that's the way to do it, John. But you know, it's like when you bring youngsters through in a football team, you like to see how well they do. So why can't we do the same with the referees? Have some sort of thing like that. Do you agree with that, John? Do you think that would be something that would probably work? If you've got like great performing referees in the Championship, why not something with a couple in the Premier League who are underperforming?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree, because at the end of the day, right, I mean, you all make mistakes, that's fine, but this is the one thing you've got to have. There's little room for error, sort of thing. So yes, if you make a mistake, then I'll demote them for a Championship for a couple of weeks, and if they get it wrong again, do it down to League One and totally get it right. But absolutely right. Championship referees into the Premier League is a big step up. They've got to start somewhere for me, but I don't see why not. But if you're poor, you're demoted. Simple as that, Tony. Totally agree.
Lee says Finney Jones got sent off for pushing the ref as well. Yeah, so did Di Canio. Gary says, did your lads hear about the Chubby Brown joke when we see a free kick? We meant some... right, okay, yeah. We got that one, Gary. Vicky Akaz says, all 4 referees are crap. Needs independent in the men's and women's games for me. Need to make the women's referees full-time, if I'm honest. Yeah, I totally agree where you come from. And you're agreeing with what I'm saying. An independent side for the VAR, which I absolutely totally agree with. Just before I get into some more comments, if you like what you see, then please smash your likes. It really does help the channel up the search results. Also, if you are brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. And the bell notification will tell you when I'm live. Have a pre-record. or any upcoming shows. And also, if you want to make a donation to the channel, there is a link in the chat. Just click the link and follow the instructions. Thank you very much indeed for that. So I'll just get into some more comments there, John. Lee says, ex-player from abroad. Is that for VR, is it, Lee, or refereeing, you mean? Good evening, lads, says Rock the Tune. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Sefton says, off Wiedersehen all. If you're not busy, watch this great show on Catch Up, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the show. Night. Thanks, Sefton. Good night, mate, and enjoy your night shift at the hospital, mate. Well done. Matt says, totally 5. Yeah. Need ex-players on VAR, says Paul. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Vicky says, it's ironic that Howard Webb and his missus are both top referees. It is, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Lottie.
Coffee says, oh my God, there's 2 shows going on. I've just noticed.
There is, like I said, I clicked on that one. I thought, hang on a minute. I could do it on there. 2 shows live. But it's mainly yours. It's mainly yours, but I think, I hope it is.
Ali Coffee says, like the show on John's stream too. EK says, big up legends. Thank you very much indeed.
Big up, EK.
Rock the Tune says, how can they say Anderson goal was offside when it came off a Forest player? Exactly. Do you know what? We can debate this until the cows come home. Yeah. We could debate this to the moon and back. And we all know all day that is definitely a bloody goal, a legitimate goal, you know. And it's crazy. But I'm glad we got the penalty, because I'll tell you now, I think if we didn't get that penalty and we'd ended that game in a draw, I think you would have seen a different Eddie Howe in front of the cameras. I think you would have seen a raging Eddie Howe in front of the cameras, and I think he would have went full throttle at the referee. And who would have blamed him? Because I wouldn't have. And Eddie Howe doesn't often lose his cool. But I'll tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if he did that night, if we'd only got a draw. But thankfully, we got the win. Because thanks to Naya Catty, the gift that keeps on giving, to stick his hand up. Let's give a handball away. And if you notice, both goals were scored, John. They were both scored in injury time. Again, Forest are terrible in injury time for conceding goals.
They are. And you can see lots of them as well, which is not good at all. They need to fix that very quickly, or they're going to be in serious trouble.
Coffee says relegation for referees, absolutely. Rock the Tune, evening, lads. Evening to you, mate. Lee says, for Tony. Don't get me even started going on there. Rock the Tune says, how was Anderson's goal offside when it came off a Forest player? That's the thing we don't know. And he says, we deserved that penalty. We would have been robbed. Yeah, absolutely. AK says, I hate Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal with a passion, but I hope they slap Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? We're 5 points ahead of Liverpool now. So, you know, we've got to keep that. We've got to keep that focus going and keep that, you know, but yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
You know what it is, Tony? What it is, Tony, right? Before you should move on, yeah. But I mean, we're clearly right. At least that Spurs won't make it. Liverpool might not make it. Chelsea will definitely not make it. But you know what it is, right? This is absolute epic this season. We said before the start of the season, we're going to give it a real go, right? And we're going to surprise a few along the way. And we are going to rattle them. The elephant is in the room. And guess what? We're loving it, Tony. Loving it.
Yeah. But for the guys who are watching on, obviously, the link-up thing that John's put out, the link out, yeah, and just in case you're confused, because I know there's a couple of people a bit confused by the channel, it's all black and white TV, by the way, so it's not John's channel tonight, John Sinclair TV, it's actually all black and white TV that you're watching on, but obviously John can share it and put it on there, so just to let you know, in case anybody's a bit confused as to why John's sitting on a different side to what I'm on, but yeah, so, but this is my channel that John's on tonight, and yeah. Lee says, I hope Ant starts in the next match. Depends, doesn't it? We'll see. We'll see what Eddie Howe thinks, though. But
you know what it is? You know what it is, right? He's done a lot more than ASM. I know. Look, I like ASM, but I'm going to be honest, right? When is the last time? I want people leaving the comment section down there. What's the last time he was man of the match? Excuse me. I'll tell you exactly when he was man of the match. Way back in August. That's against Man City. Since then, he has not been man of the match. Elliot Anderson's come in, and he's with fresh air. He's got in, right, and he put himself our boot, right. Scored a goal, disallowed goal. But I tell you what, this guy, he's going to push, he's going to give it a real go. He's done more than ASM has done. And I said it many a time, right? He's got all the tricks that he can run, but you haven't got an end product, then you're out. You have to have an end product in your game.
No, you're right, John. You're right. I mean, he was disappointing the other night. Yeah, okay, Eddie Howe says he has an injury. We're not sure if he has an injury or not, but, if he has, he has. But Anderson did a lot more in that 45 minutes in that second half than what ASM did in the first 45 minutes. Exactly. But I've got a feeling, John, that after the international break, because Joe Linton's back, he's not suspended anymore. I think he'll put Joe Linton back on the left with Byrne, because he can't drop Willock now because Willock's played really well. So
absolutely.
I think Joe Willock will walk back into the team. Joe Linton will walk back into the team. He'll go on the left-hand side, and I think Elliot Anderson will be a substitute. That's how I'm looking at it. Or Eddie Howe could totally surprise us and put Joe Linton on the bench and play Anderson on the left. Do you know what, John? How many times have we all guessed about what teams Eddie Howe puts out? And we've always said, this is a team we think will go out, and then it'll be something totally different to what we think. Because that's, nobody can absolutely guess bang on what Eddie Howe's team's going to be.
Exactly. I mean, he just keeps his card close to his chest. He doesn't give much away, doesn't he? And I'll tell you what, we find out on Sunday, the 2nd of April, who's going to play. But there's competition for places now, and ASM is not a guaranteed starter for me. And you know what? He's got to work hard. I mean, we've been good to ASM. We really have been good to him, right? But at the end of the day, right, if you don't fix up, right, you're not going to be in the team. Ask us one question. Is ASM better than Saka? No, it's not, right? Saka is more consistent. ASM, right, this is his 4th season now, and I've always said it's going to be a massive season for ASM. He needs to show us now, 4th season, right? And a lot of people's giving up on him. I don't want to tap him out yet, but I tell you something, right? But it's all on him now. He's got to now the end of the season to push in the top 4. I want to get top 4 this season. Does he want to be a part of that? We saw what Elliot Anderson did the other night. He's eager. He's got energy.
Yeah.
He's got passion. Anthony Gordon, when he comes back, I'm sure he's going to be alright. Right? And who else is there? Miggy. Miggy is okay.
Miggy.
I mean, he started well, went down a dip, and he's trying his best to get back in the game. But Joe Linton, that left side berth is Joe Linton to me. Leave Joe Willock where he is. Joe Linton on the left. I stick with Murphy on the right, man, because he's doing all right. He surprised us, that guy. I'm telling you, he surprised us.
Yeah, absolutely, John, absolutely. Rock says, what do you think of Conte being pushed out of Spurs? It's only, to be honest with you, it's his own fault if he gets pushed out. Gareth says, I hope the Referees Association don't put Tierney in charge of any of our games for a long time, if ever, especially at home. Yeah, you're right, Gareth. He shouldn't be in charge of any of our games. Vic says, brilliant, John's in the passenger seat tonight.
Yay! Yes.
Ian says, Anderson deserves to stay in the team. Yeah, he does, Ian, absolutely, mate.
He does.
Jake says, Maxi got man the match against Liverpool down to 10 men, John.
I forgot about that one, but not very many those 2-man matches this season. Yeah, look, I'm not having a look before people think I'm going to go at him. I'm not, but I'm only judging him. I already assessing him game by game on the day. If he plays well, I'll praise him. If he doesn't play as well, then I should have to be honest and say that is crap. And I will say it. Who cares?
Well, John, at the end of the day, football's all about opinions, right? And that's why we love this game so much, football. But and everybody can have their own their own thing about whichever player's great, whichever player's crap, and things like that. And the thing is, John, we both say it as we say it. And, you know, if a player has a bad game, the player has a bad game, and we will call that player out for having a bad game.
Absolutely.
If that player has a great game, then we will say that player's had a great game. You know, we don't wax lyrical. You know, we say it how it is. That's it at the end of the day.
Doesn't matter who you are. It's like Botman. You gave him a 4 the other day in the player ratings. I don't blame you. I would give them the same. Simple as that. And then he gets some of the fan base, right, saying that you can't have a go at them. You can't have a go at that. Well, no. We just call it out, say it how it is. Simple as that. That's why I like some podcasters like, you know, like Lottie. Lottie says it how it is, yeah? She doesn't suffer fools gladly. Do you know what I mean? Macy, the same. Again, she doesn't suffer fools gladly as well. They say it how it is and they speak the truth.
Absolutely.
So do we.
Vic says, no way, John. Saka's different gravy. Lee says, Ashby when he gets back. Yeah. Max says, Gordon will be okay when he learns how or not to put his own foot, lol. And EK says, what's your thoughts on us being linked with Scott McTominay? Right, EK. Scott McTominay, I'm not a great fan of him, in all honesty. I think we can get better than that. If I'm all honest, yeah, we can get better than Scott McTominay. I'm sorry, but the problem is, I look at it. Is it a case of, are we really in for Scott McTominay, or is it just journalists drumming up a load of crap and recycling old stories? And as far as I'm concerned, it's recycling old stories. I just hope to God we are not linked to McTominay. Do not want him. Please do not buy him, Newcastle United. And that's my thoughts on McTominay. John, what's yours?
I'm going to have to go with you, sort of thing. You would not be my first choice, let's be real. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I would have taken Thomas Partey, to be fair, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Sorry, Lottie. But look, at the end of the day, right, I mean, for me, I mean, you definitely need a CDM. I mean, Calvin Phillips will be good, but he gets injured all the time, which is a damn shame, right? But at the end of the day, we definitely need a CDM, 100%. And Milinkovic-Savic would be my first choice.
Yeah, I would rather have him over McTominay any day. Cat, good evening to you. Well, our players have had only one good all season. You never walk alone. Welcome to the channel, All Black and White TV. If you like what you see, please smash a like and give us a subscribe. Thank you. Ian says, I like Maxi, but he goes missing in games at times. Yeah, he does, Ian. You're absolutely spot on there. Maxi's got to prove himself. No. Ian says, don't want him. McTominay, absolutely not.
Tom's.
Vic says, I know John's sort on taking Nketiah and Tierney off my club. Tony, would you have either of them? I mean, Nketiah's done all right for you, to be fair. And when Jesus was out, he was doing all right for you. I'm not sure on Nketiah, but Tierney is a great left back. Don't get me wrong. And in the chat, Vic, there's a guy called Ian Fleming who's a big Celtic fan as well, like John is. Now, I like him, Kieran Tierney. I think he's a good left back. The only problem I have with him though is the injuries, and that's the only stickler, that gets me. But other than that, I like the fact he is a great left back, but it's just his injuries. That's all I'm concerned about. And as much as I would love to take Tierney at Newcastle, and I would take him there without a shadow of a doubt, but I've got to think, can he last a full season? And that is the problem. We've had enough of our fair share of players over the years that have had injuries, So, yeah, I would have him, but if he was injury-free.
Oh, he's played 20-odd games this season, by the way, Kieran Tierney, but when he does play, he's an attacking left-back. I don't think this guy, when he's injury-free, this guy could be one of the best left-backs in Europe. And that is not, I'm not going to lie, because Kieran Tierney is a cracking fullback. You're right, Tony, his injuries again. And if he's available, then, yeah, he's going to have a stringent medical test as well. I hope I take him. I take him all day, 100%. And as an Nketiah, right, I mean, for me, would I have Nketiah? I wouldn't have a problem with it, Eddie, to be fair. I think the guy's young. I think he's going to get better. I know people's going to laugh at us, but at the end of the day, he does miss a lot of chances. I get that, but he's at the right place at the right time, But he's getting in positions and that. But if we get Eddie Nketiah, right, I will definitely back him 100%. I would definitely back him. He wouldn't be first choice, but if he came, I'll back the guy because he's got potential. There you go, Lottie.
Vic says, no, you can't have party, John. We've had this conversation. Lee says, Man, you can keep McTominay. Yeah, absolutely, Lee. Definitely. AK says, I don't want McTominay or Mount, but I'll defo take Sabitzer. Would you have Sabitzer?
I would. I think he's a good player. He's always been a good player. I mean, he's been under the radar, that guy, for Bayern Munich. And, I think Ten Hag done really well getting this guy. And I think they're going to keep him on. They're definitely keep him on.
AK says, Rio Hatate from Celtic would cook in our midfield.
It'd be a lot of money, that guy. But if the Premier League came in for him, I think he'd be good. But I think he'd probably stay still to 1 more year. He is so classy.
Ian says, yes, Tierney, Tony, lol. Yeah, I knew you would say that, Ian. Lottie says, you'll have a pick of players when you're Champions League. Forget McTominay, he's dreadful. Absolutely, I don't want McTominay, Lottie. Sorry, I don't want him in our club, so he can do one. You can stay at Man United. Vic says, don't get me wrong, love Kieran a bit. Incredible when fully fit. You can have Eddie, as I say to John, your defence is trouble.
Your defence is trouble. Your defence in trouble. And get us out the door, in the room. Actually, so in the room. That's a song. I love that song.
Biassi is due to the intensity of our game. Tierney would be on the injury table every other game next to ESM. Lee says, what about Zaha? No, thank you. No.
Not for me.
No. He's a one-club man. He went to Man United, flopped. Went back to Palace, done the business for them. Sorry, I don't want him at Newcastle United. Ian says, AK, yes, he would. So, there we go. Right, guys, we're going to wrap up now. But, John, do you want to let people know where they can find you on your socials?
Thank you very much for having us on, Tony. I sure will.
No problem.
You can find us on, we actually shared the stream tonight because I thought, okay, we'll do that. And, so both could be watched, which are only so from this half an hour of it, guys. For me, you can find us on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and also on Facebook. I think it's Facebook, don't I? It's John Sinclair TV.
Yeah.
If you find us on Insta, John Sinclair 50 on Instagram. And if you find us on Twitter, John_NEFC42. And that is on social media. If you follow us, I'll follow you back. And we're supposed to be having a Premier League sure tomorrow. I quickly realized there's no Premier League games as well. So I will speak to Lottie and think of something to do. We'll probably do a transfer sure or talk about a bit of Newcastle, etc. She won't mind that at all. So, yeah, I've got a couple sures lined up. I should think of them as well. So, and if you're new to the channel, like what you see, then please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. And I'm all in now. If I can find me, I've got left another 10 more for 4,500. 10 more for 4,500, please, people.
Well done, John. Well done. Right. So, so you can find me on Twitter at TonyTony31 down there. Give me a follow and I'll follow you back. I'm also on Twitch at TonyTony31. You can find me on my channel, which is It's All Black and White TV. This channel's only been going since October, so I've been going for 4.5 months now. So if you like what you see, then please smash the like button. It really does help the channel up with search results. Also, if you're brand new to my channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. And that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have any upcoming shows or any pre-records. I'm currently on 453 subscribers. So I'm 47 away now from getting to 500. And that's in less than 5 months. So I'm not doing too bad at all. So the channel's grown lovely. And to everybody who has subscribed so far, I thank you very so much. And also, it really is a pleasure to have you coming on and watching. And the people, of course, who's come on from John Ernst to watch as well. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you get yourself on It's All Black and White TV. Check out my content. I've got some great stuff on there. And so tomorrow I'll probably be back with a show, maybe a preview for the England game. I'll definitely be doing an England warm-up show on the Thursday with the 2 teams announced. Not sure what I've got Friday, but on Saturday, I'll be coming live from the King Power Stadium at Leicester, because I'm going up there to see England under-21s against France under-21s, which is a 5 p.m. kickoff. So there'll be a few vlogs done from there. I'll probably do one on the train on the way up to Leicester. So do check in for that one as well, and I'll go through some last comments that we've got in before we end the show. So I'll just go back to the what about Sahar? No, we don't want him, Lee. Definitely not. AK, yes, he would. Hitati is a great player, says Ian. Just joking, says Lee. Banda says, hopefully McTominay is paper talk. Yeah, absolutely. Vic says, Sahar's found his level. Wouldn't wish him on any club but Palace. Absolutely. Gareth, thank you both. Thank you indeed, Gareth. One of my regular viewers.
Surely
Great
is.
show, that says AK. Thank you. Make sure you head over to the channel, AK. Maybe Spurs, or says Vic. Hey, who knows? You would love them to go to Spurs, wouldn't you? Anybody to go to your North London rivals. Lee says, been great night, Tony and John. Cheers, Lee. Thank you very much indeed. Another one of my regulars. Great show, guys, says Vic. Thank you very much indeed, Vic. Ian says, cheers, Tony and John. Cheers, Ian.
Cheers,
see you later,
Ian.
my man. Rock the tune. See you tomorrow, John. Tonight, lads. Thank you very much. Great show, Tony and John, says Matt. Cheers, Matt. Hope you have a great day in Aussie land.
That in Australia.
And Coffee says, bye, John, Tony and all. Bye-bye to you, Coffee, as well. And he says, sorry, bye, Tony, John and all. No worries, Coffee, no worries at all, mate. But, yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. It's been a great debate on the referees. And, you know, it's great to have these shows. And you've got to have these debates. And it's always fantastic when you get people to come on and interact in the chat. It's absolutely brilliant because you get to see people's different comments. And this is what I love doing. This is my passion, you know, for anybody who's just joined on from John's side tonight, if they're not sure who I am. But I'm Tony, and like I say, I'm been a Newcastle fan over 40 years, you know, 41 years since I was 10-year-old. And my passion is Newcastle, and I'm glad I can share my passion with everybody else out there and give everybody the entertainment they deserve. So that's what I like to do. And, you know, so thank you very much for coming on. And like I say, do have a look at my channel because I do have a lot of good stuff on there. And I do put some little video shorts and things like that out. I sometimes do morning videos when I'm sitting in my car before I go into work. So do check those out as well. Just the last few comments. Russ says, big up, John, lad.
Big up, Russ. He's another goon as well.
Gary says, great show, lads. Cheers, Gary. Another one of my regulars. Thank you very much. And Coffee, my regular, says, comments on both channels appear on the same show. Absolutely.
I think it's brilliant.
And Vic says, subscribe, Tony. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. But yeah, it's been a great night. And thank you for coming on as well, John. I know you've got to dash off after the show. But yeah, but take care, everybody. And until then, see you later. Enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you're doing. And how are you, lads?
How are you, lads? Take care, Tony.